Hey guys and welcome. Today we are talking about something that was recently revealed. In the scans that we had for the upcoming trial decks, it was revealed that we would get orders back. And I think that's a pretty big deal and we should honestly talk about. So, something that I was thinking about is that a very big issue in the past V-Series and something many people disliked about the V-Series is that there weren't enough defensive mechanisms. I mean, we had Gurgai's auto ability that lets you guard from deck. There were Ellie's ability as a rear guard to stack a lot of shield value. There was Shirayuki to drop the opponent's power. And there was Sludge Monster Drawhead from Dimensional Police that would prevent boosting for the rest of the turn. Of course, there was some premature defensive mechanism in the kind of Mega Colony that would prevent standing, or with Castbreaker Dragon that would lock you. Yes, those are also some sort of defensive mechanisms, but not really. Because what I understand of defensive mechanisms, and that's actually what makes Premium such an interesting format, is that unlike the standard format, attack patterns depend a lot on the strike unit you choose. You need to have some sort of tools to get out of damage denial. And it's also very important to have G-Guardians for the right matchup and choose the correct G-Guardian for the correct situation. Always evaluate how much shield value you need for the opponent's combo and how much resources you have left for your next turn. And that's something Standard just does not have, or V-Premium. Because in the V-Series, half of the clans have their own moderate Phantom, and then there are some other clans that try to imitate Gear Chronicles, spam a lot of force markers or axle markers, like Gold Paladin with Percival and the early Azul mechanics. So what the D-Series actually needs to become very interesting are more defensive mechanisms. And I think that the order cards are a very good way to do that, because in the V-Series, order cards were introduced. But unfortunately, almost all of them were just bad and weren't played in actual decks. Blade Masters played this great free order card that lets you draw 3 cards and distribute some power for 3 Counterblast and 3 Soul Blast. Maybe some other niche deck as well, but it's honestly about it. But I think the one order card that did it correct was the Majesty Lord Blaster order card. It allowed itself to be a bit stronger, but specific, because you could only play it on Raw Paladins. But something very important that Premium format did a lot better than the V-Series was actually the implementation of G-Guardians, and I cannot stretch enough how important G-Guardians are for the actual game. So what I think what the V-Series actually needs is something that imitates the G-Guardians that we have in the Premium format. And I think that Blitz Orders would be the perfect solution for that, and I would really love to explain why. Order cards itself are, in my opinion, very healthy for the game. They add a new layer of deck building. Since they're not unit cards, they're mostly not combo pieces outside of Tempest Sphere, maybe in Premium format, and they would be only there for the pure defensive mechanisms. Unlike G-Guardians, they're not an auto-include into every game, since Blitz Orders are cards by themselves, but G-Guardians are always present, since 99% of all decks are actually playing Heal Trigger. So you need to be aware that you're actually taking a slot away from one of your combo pieces for a card that's only active during your guard step. So since they're so restrictive, we can actually allow ourselves to give these Blitz Orders some quite powerful effects. And I don't leave you here in the blue with your own imagination. I got for you some samples of how these abilities could actually look. So possible options Dragon Empire could have would be either if your Vanguard was attacked and the attack did not hit, you can retire one of your opponent's rear guards that is in rest, and another one for Soul Blast to decrease the power of your opponent's unit by 20k. For Keter Sanctuary, by the way, best nation, check top 3 cards of your deck, call one of them and rest in your guidance circle, or another one, counterblast 1, draw a card, check the top card of your deck. If it's a grade 1 or below, call it at your guidance circle. For Stoicheia, it would be Soul Blast 1, call the card from the drop zone to guidance circle, or your Vanguard gets additional plus 5k for every unit with the same name on your rearguard circle. Dark States would be choose one of your rearguards, put it on the bottom of your deck, and your Vanguard gets additional plus 10k until the end of that battle. Or counter +1, or maybe no cost at all. Call a card from the soul as rest into Guardian Circle. Brunt Gate would be counter +1. Your opponent cannot boost until the end of the turn, or if the opponent's attack did not hit, counter charge 1. And last but not least, Lyrical Monasterio could have the ability that you call one card from your hand to the Rearguard Circle, then your Vanguard gets plus 5k, and you could choose copies of that order from your drop zone, shuffle it back into your deck, and your Vanguard would get plus 10k for every single copy you shuffled back into your deck. Now, some of you might think that these skills are very stupid and unrealistic, or maybe even broken and unbalanced, but I actually took inspirations from cards that were already printed. Actually, all these skills that I just said were already printed on 6 normal units and 6 G-Guardians throughout the past 5 years of the game. And to top it all off, those were abilities from the clans of the respective nations. So that could also be a way to somehow keep clan identity alive. Of course, there are a lot of other ways how these skills would look. Maybe the stronger abilities could be restricted, that you could only perform them if your opponent performed a persona right. Or even bigger, that you get additional benefits if your opponent performed a persona right. But that's actually not all I had to say. What if there would be a universal order card that is able to reverse or nullify trigger effects? And this one, I think, could be a very interesting design choice, because many people were upset about overtriggers. And in my opinion, I think overtriggers are actually a very interesting design, because they keep this anime idea alive in Vanguard, that you could always win, that you could always survive the turn, that you could always make a comeback. But what I found odd is with the right deck mechanic that Bushiroad introduced to us, and giving us a lot more consistency and actual control over the game, slowing it down with the persona right mechanic, that they give us such a big random factor into the game such as overtrigger. But what if there would be a Blitz Order that actually reverses the effect of the triggers? And it's not like we haven't seen that before. Actually, Brandt from Link Joker had the ability in the V series to reverse and manipulate the trigger effect. It could also be very exciting to have this card available to all clans, or maybe just Brunt Gate because lore, but in the end it would give the player way more control over the game, and you could use it offensively as defensively. If there can be activated during your turn, you could negate your opponent's overtrigger in his battle phase, or maybe when you attack the opponent, you could negate the defensive trigger and push for game, and maybe regret it next turn when your opponent checks the overtrigger. It could also power down some past cards we had, like Ultima for example, but I think that's a very interesting idea of Blitz Orders that Bushiroad could take with the game. And so I hope that you guys take something away from that video, maybe make your own thoughts. Maybe it will never come into fruition and all of that is just a huge fantasy of mine. But in the end, I see a huge opportunity for the D series right here. And yeah, that's all I had to say. Ciao.